Welcome to Venture with Joe and Cody, where we take a deep dive into the minds of leaders and innovators making a real impact today. I'm Joe.
And I'm Cody. And we're here to bring you the raw stories, the successes, and the setbacks that these trailblazers have experienced in their journey to where they are today.
Every week, we sit down with a new guest who's ready to share their insight and advice on business, entrepreneurship, and making a difference in their community. From local community members to industry experts, you're going to get the unfiltered truth behind their success.
So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned professional, or just curious about the business world, join us for a journey of learning and inspiration.
So let's grab a drink, settle in, and let's get started. This is Venture with Joe and Cody. Hey guys, welcome to Venture with Joe and Cody. My name is Joe Skipper. I'm the owner of Skipper Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty in Oregon. I'm with my friend and lender, Cody Wilhelm. How are you, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Soaking up these last few days of what seems to be warm weather and transitioning into the fall. So
it's nuts. It's like it's going, tomorrow's supposed to rain. Yeah. And we probably shouldn't be talking about what the weather's going to be like because we don't know when this is going to post. So
that's true.
And more importantly, we have a guest that has a busy schedule and doesn't have time for our antics. Caitlyn Sticka with Courage. You are the founder and executive director of With Courage. Am I right, Caitlyn?
That's right. Yep.
How's it going?
Good. Glad to be here.
It's awesome to have us for many reasons all together because, you know, we've just been talking about this pre-recording, but we're all kind of Yamhill Carlton people in one way or another.
Right.
Caitlyn,
Go Tigers.
You joined us late in the game, but you've been in Carlton forever, right?
22 years. Yeah.
Wow.
In Oregon. Yeah. McMinnville or Carlton.
So you're
the
part of
longest
us.
that I've been anywhere. Yeah.
You're part of us. So this is cool. But Caitlyn, you have an amazing story for so many reasons, but and so I want to kind of dive into that kind of right away and get going with that of kind of what brought you to With Courage, what brought you to that mindset of what you're going to do. But you've not only been a survivor of breast cancer a couple of times, but you also, you know, founded a support, basically a support center. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I am wrong on that, but basically a support center for people that have survived breast cancer and or are currently going through it. So just kind of a really amazing story. I think this would be pertinent to a lot of people that have either gone through similar things that you have or are going through similar things that you have, but also the fact that you did it, but then built a business on it. So just a cool story. So if you can kind of just start us off with kind of what happened, like what got you to this point that you're at right now and kind of what the process that led you there.
Yeah. So in 2014, I was diagnosed. I was 30 with breast cancer while I was pregnant. I found out the same week. And right away, people just started connecting me with other people. There's this other girl that just went through this. You need to meet her. And through her, I was able to find my oncologist and all of my medical team. And then through that, I was able to find another group on Facebook, which was all other women who had been diagnosed while pregnant with cancer. And I just found that to be super helpful. So when I was going through treatment and all of that, I was going through treatment up like Portland area, like Oswego, things like that. And they would offer me all these resources. They're saying, here's this support group, here's this so-and-so, whatever resource. And I had already been going up there, so many times. A week that I couldn't do that. And so when I was recovering for one of my surgeries, I thought to myself, what can I do? Is there anything in Yamhill County? And at the time, there really wasn't anything that I felt matched what I was looking for, which was kind of that peer-to-peer support. So really somebody who understood what I was going through at that same level as a peer. And so I decided, hey, let's do something. And so I kind of did some research. I didn't really know how to start a nonprofit. So for the first couple of years, we were under a different nonprofit as a program. And then kind of as COVID ramped up, we actually got our nonprofit status that April of 2020. But we have been really kind of a nonprofit since 2016. I unfortunately had a reoccurrence in 2017. Luckily, it was local. We were able to tackle that and kind of move forward. So here I am this month, 10 years from my first diagnosis, which is crazy. But our support is peer-to-peer, like I said. It started with care packages. So I kind of looked at what was useful for me, what was helpful for me, and what was not, and put together a care package. It's evolved a little bit, but just items that I felt were comforting, useful, and just a little bit of, extra that we could give to somebody who is going through treatment. So that's kind of how it started. We have a bunch of other resources that we offer: online support, in-person support, and financial assistance.
Wow, it like
Mm.
grew from just
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that. So it grew from basically you seeing something that you didn't have, and you said, I need to
Mhm.
provide that to the community, or think that would be helpful for the community. Is that right?
Yeah, I saw that it was so helpful for me to have even just that peer to peer. So we kind of started with that. We have a private Facebook group. Um, we started with that. We did the care packages and just saw that, hey, this is really important to be able to ask those questions that, of course, your medical team, and we always say, like, we're not your medical team. Please confirm with them on things that are medical. But to be able to say, okay, who's your plastic surgeon, or who's your oncologist, or I'm looking for a physical therapist, who have you had a good experience with? You're just going to get more, you're going to get quick answers, and you're going to get more genuine answers, I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
from
from
people
people
in
who've
it.
had the experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can imagine that that would be really, really overwhelming, right? You just find out that you have cancer, and now it's like, wow, what all do I have to do? So to be able to have that support group and people that you can talk to that have gone through it or are currently going through it, with that, what do you feel like is the main thing? Is it really just that connection with other people that are going through it? Are there additional resources, or is it more the in person or even virtual just connection with people that are going through something similar?
I think that that's the biggest part. I think that we have people. I mean, I had amazing community. I still do, of people who were supporting us financially, emotionally, things like that. But it's just different when somebody else understands. And it's like a different language. We always say, like, there's medical terms that you don't have to explain to somebody. You can just kind of come in and say, hey, I have this type of diagnosis of breast cancer, and somebody else can say, I do too, or this is the type of chemo I'm doing, or type of uh, surgery I'm doing, and you don't necessarily have to explain it. You can be a little more authentic and real. You can say, this sucks really bad. You can,
Mm-hmm.
a little, because sometimes when we're around other people, we want to have that. I know I'm super stoic, so I have like that really, like, I'm good, everything's good, face on.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're able to be a little, you can let that guard down a little bit and say, um, this is really hard or whatever. Another thing I found through my journey, that you really have to advocate for yourself, regardless if you have a good medical team, and just encouraging our ladies to do that. So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, they couldn't get me in for like 2 months. It's like, well, you need to call back. You need to
Hmm.
be the squeaky
Mm-hmm.
tire, and call back, and encouraging them to do that. Just a place to be authentic. It's not, I hesitate calling it a support group because it feels a little sterile. But we meet up for coffee monthly. It's really genuine. It's literally just like sitting here having a cup of coffee with friends. Of course, we're going to talk about breast cancer because we all have it in common, but it's
Mm-hmm.
really not, we're not going around the circle
Hmm.
introducing ourselves and talking about our stories. And then our meetups that we do in the evenings quarterly, those are more like centered around something educational or fun. So we've had physical therapists come, we've had nutritionists, but we've done like paint nights or pottery painting. We've gone on hikes together, things like that. So trying to make it more authentic and just feel more comfortable for them so it doesn't feel sterile.
That's intense.
Mm.
Like as you're talking, I'm like, it's just overwhelming. And it was going to one of my questions of, did you have, obviously this stemmed from you getting breast cancer, but like, did you have a plan of it getting this large and this extensive, or were you just like, hey, I just want to fill a gap here, and now it's snowballed into what it is now? Or how did that process work for you mentally and just kind of logistically?
That's so funny. As we're in our busy time right now because of Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, I am just like a head down, get things done kind of person. And sometimes with the help of other people on my team, reminding me to stop and think about where we started, look how far you've come, because
Hmm.
I just am like a dreamer and all the things. I just really wanted to do something um, but I didn't imagine it would turn into what it is. The community is amazing. I think if you ask anyone, you've been impacted by breast cancer in some way. You've known somebody, you could name at least one person, right? And so really that is kind of where we know that we can find connection with anyone. So as far as like finding people who want to support us, either with their time or their money, they generally have some sort of connection. And so people have just jumped in and they're just so willing to help and want to donate because they see that we're doing something that is meaningful. People have asked us, are you going to move out of Yamhill County? And right now, no. I'd rather spend more money and more time on the people in our county because there's still, we get referrals every month. We're getting multiple referrals every month from our hospitals and cancer centers. So we don't have a lack of people. So we don't, yeah. And what we do is so personal. I mean, we have a committee, which is amazing. So to kind of piggyback on what you said, I used to go personally to every person that was referred to us and bring them their care package and meet with them for coffee and talk with them. And my board finally said, you cannot keep doing this. You cannot do it all. So we had a couple people come on our committee, and now we have, I think, 15. I think 13 of them are survivors that we've helped on our committee, and they now go to and do that as well. So they get to feel that, feel like they're giving back. So it's really neat. That was something I definitely had to let go of because I was like, oh, this is my thing. And now I love watching them do it and being able to coach them and show them how to do it. And so it's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since there is kind of the virtual aspect to just about anything anymore, obviously you've got Yamhill County, Oregon, Washington, the kind of the Northwest. Have you seen the reach go farther than that from, like, say, the Facebook groups or virtual stuff where you're seeing it kind of expand out, or is it staying kind of more or less Northwest?
So for us, the requirement to be involved in what we do is just Yamhill County. So anyone in our group is just Yamhill County. But there are a lot of really cool groups that are more nationwide or even in the world that are doing this kind of model. And that's kind of where, like, when I was first diagnosed and found out I was pregnant, I got involved in a group, and it's like a nationwide group. And I ended up meeting some of those women in person, and I've met with them twice, which is amazing. And so that kind of was like, hey, I want to do that similar model here in Yamhill County. And that's kind of where, but no, we haven't we haven't gotten bigger. Okay. Just because what we do is so, I feel like I need to be in every county. There need to be a Caitlyn in each county.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's hard to spread yourself that far. But I was gonna, like, leading on that, like, were you the first in Yamhill County, or were you one of many and you just do it differently? Like, I guess it seems like on the surface it's a very successful nonprofit. Like, like, was it just that you were the only one there and you were the only one to provide resources and built on that, or were you one of many and you just did it better? Like, how did that look when you started this?
I mean, there are a couple other nonprofits locally in Yamhill County. They do serve some other counties as well that do something sort of similar, but we all have different criteria. But you may have seen, if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, we work closely with the Willamette Valley Cancer Foundation and Seeds of Hope, which is a program of See You Later Foundation. We call ourselves the Common Cause Crew. And what we found during COVID especially was that we were sometimes helping the same client. And so could we come together and maximize our resources? But sometimes we have different criteria that doesn't match up. But there are different nonprofits doing similar things. What we do differently is that peer-to-peer support model. So I haven't seen anything like that in our county.
Okay. I was going to ask you about that because not necessarily unique, but so if someone needs the resources, what are you specifically providing that, that they would come to you for versus go to someone else because you don't provide that? Like, what does your nonprofit do?
So we are breast cancer focused only. We, of course, know that men get breast cancer, and we're happy to support them. We have had one male that we've been able to support, but generally speaking, it's 99% women. Um, we are so our criteria is they live in Yamhill County. They do not have to receive treatment in Yamhill County. They have to have had a breast cancer diagnosis in their lifetime to have some of our resources. Some of them change based on if they're in active treatment or not. So we don't have a criteria based on income. So that was important to me as well. And our process for applying for financial assistance is really minimal. Basically, we just want to be able to support you regardless, because we know that hearing that you have cancer is awful. So it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're a millionaire, if you're in the poverty level. And we found that with our financial assistance, which we tailor to each person, like we've paid mortgages, we've paid past like taxes for somebody because that was just lingering on their plate, to have some their I cannot think of the word for your house, your taxes.
Property
For
taxes?
your property. There you
Yeah.
go.
I was like a lender and a real estate agent. We're all frozen too. We're like, yeah,
I
we
know.
don't
Oh my gosh.
we
So
have
we
no idea.
pay, you know, we bought tires for somebody for their car. We paid car insurance, medical bills, gas, groceries, anything that we feel if it is going to impact their ability to approach their cancer and their treatment and really hinder that, we're going to help within reason, of course. And then we have a certain amount that we kind of earmark for per person. And then we have so that is only for people in active treatment. So that's somebody who is having chemotherapy, radiation, surgery. And we obviously determine that based on their referral and their treatment plan. And then we do have a continued care fund for our families who are going through stage 4 treatment, which is an indefinite treatment. So they're going to have their treatment indefinitely for the rest of their life. So each year we put an additional amount of money towards something that we can help them with. But what we say for our ladies, because survivorship is super important. I'm going through survivorship. I will the rest of my life. It's really complicated. A lot of times, if you saw me, you wouldn't think, oh, she's had cancer twice. You wouldn't know. But mentally, it can be hard. Emotionally, it can be tricky to navigate because you just went through something very scary and hard. And now you're like trying to go back to your normal life, right?
Yeah.
And so survivorship is really important. So we kind of let them know we're here until you don't need us. So we really are not like, well, you're done. That's something unique that we do. It's not kind of you're done and then we'll see you later. It's we're done, and we hope that you feel plugged into our resources, that you want to stick around, either volunteer and help, or you want to come join us for more support. So you may come to our coffee meetups. You may come to our other meetups. We just started a program called Courageous Movement, which is a place where they can come for free to different, we just started at one location, but we're hoping to move to other places, but they can come do like exercise or yoga, strength training, mobility stuff, tailored to them specifically, at no cost to them. So that's something to note also, is we really try to make any of our meetups or activities at no cost or very little cost to them. I mean, generally speaking, it's zero cost to them. And so, yeah, we really try and make it accessible for everyone.
Wow. So can you share just a little bit of, so you've had cancer 2 different times. Can you share just a little bit of the difference between, say, the first time and the second time? Did you feel, after going through it, did you feel any different the second time? Because obviously you have a little bit more of an understanding of it. Did you find that there was more support? Did you find that you were in a different place mentally, or is it really pretty similar regardless? Because I know
That's such a good question.
My mom went through it, but it was only one time. And I know that there are a lot of people that get it multiple times, but I'm just kind of out of curiosity. What's that look like?
That's such a good question. And one that I've probably not talked a lot about, but I would say the second time was harder in a sense. So the first time like you're just like on pure adrenaline. I feel like you're just going. You're trying to get all information you can. You have all these people that are supporting you. The second time, people I almost felt like thought, oh, she's a pro at this. Like she knows
Hmm.
what she's doing. She's already done this before. Or they're like, I don't even know what to say. This is awful. I don't, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? So it was definitely different. It felt a little lonelier, to be honest. People, yeah, not the same.
Hmm.
But I think I found different support. There was different people that I never thought would come into my life. And I think that's really cool and interesting, if you want to look at it in a positive way, but also hard
Hmm. Yeah.
and a little like confusing when you're like, huh, why did that person who was there the first time, why are they not showing up in the same way? So definitely a lot of like introspection there and thinking about that kind of stuff for sure. So that's
Hmm.
definitely a good question. But
Wow.
yeah, definitely
What
different.
like
Yeah.
when this happened, obviously this changed your whole world in many ways, but what were your plans prior to that? Like prior to this happening, were you on a track somewhere like what were your thoughts, I guess, like before
Oh
this all
gosh.
happened? Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to school to be a teacher, actually. I went to Linfield and I got my degree in elementary education. Kind of decided outside after graduation, I wasn't really sure that's what I wanted to do. I was working at a coffee shop and I started managing that. I really loved that. Kind of got burnt out, worked at a medical office. Then I did financial assistance and I helped with a let's see, I was an assistant to a financial advisor. And then I got diagnosed. And I really wasn't on a path to knowing what I really wanted to do. But when I look back at my life and what kind of I liked to do when I was young, or even when I was at the coffee shop, I loved to connect people to resources. Like I loved when people would come in the coffee shop that were visiting. I'd be like, okay, you need to go eat lunch here. Where are you guys going? Are you
Hmm.
wine tasting? Where are you staying? Like I just loved that. And so, and then also I grew up in a family where volunteering was like part of what we did. My stepdad is a retired minister, and my mom we always were just doing something. We were in Seattle at soup kitchens, or we were doing something. And so I think that volunteer and that resource and just kind of it just came together. And it just feels like it was meant to be what I was supposed to be doing. Though it is unfortunate the way it came
The
about.
way, yeah.
I've never been one to ask like why or why me? I just think, here we go, and this is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing now, and this is what I meant to do, and um, that was what it was.
Now, jumping back to with courage, how does it look to just using an example, someone comes in, they say they have breast cancer, come to with courage. What does it look like for them? Like, what are they going to be expecting when they walk in the door or call or, reach out?
Yeah, so generally speaking, our referrals come from our cancer centers. So McMinnville Cancer Center, or yeah, in Providence, Newburgh. We do get some referrals from people who know other people, or self referrals, but generally speaking. So we'll get a referral. Then I will connect with my committee and assign somebody to them to be their lead. That person will then connect with them. Well, I will send an email to them with introducing their lead, kind of introducing our program, our resources, kind of who we are, and then that lead person will take over and connect with them about getting a care package. And this is a person that's diagnosed and going through treatment. I can talk about somebody who's a survivor if you after this, but
Yeah.
so then they will hope to get them a care package pretty soon, find out their treatment plan. If they're having surgery, we do a surgery pack. If there's any financial needs straight away, we will work on that. Those needs come to me directly. We don't pay them money directly. We would pay, like, we're going to pay their Comcast bill or we're going to pay their PGE bill or something. We will pay them directly to that vendor. And then we want to get them included in our Facebook group, get them included in our newsletter, get them in, invite them to our coffee meetups, make sure that they're in the know with all of those things. And then that person that's their lead will continue to check on them, say, hey, how did surgery go? Or, based on what their treatment plan is. We also do a radiation pack. So that is something with items for somebody going through radiation. And then, yeah, hopefully kind of once they're done with treatment, then we also send out a road to recovery gift, saying, you know, we're excited for you as you enter into your road to recovery. But hopefully by then, and it's not just like see you later, we hope by then they have come to a coffee meetup or done one of the courageous movement classes or come to a quarterly meetup and they feel connected. They've created friendships or something, you know, relationships like that. And so then they're still intertwined, because it wouldn't make sense for our support group committee to stay with somebody forever.
Yeah.
So we kind of want them to help them get connected, and then they will move on to another person. If somebody comes in and they're a survivor, say I meet somebody and like, oh, I'm a 10-year survivor or whatever, we of course want to tell them, hey, we have this group where you're welcome to come to our coffee meetups. You're welcome to come to our quarterly meetups. Please join the Facebook group. Come to the Courageous Movement class. Those are all available for survivors at whatever stage they're in. Another thing I forgot to mention is we do, I think this would be our 4th year, a event called Beyond Courageous. And that is an event just for our survivors and fighters, and they come, it's a luncheon, and they just get to come and hang out. Last year, I think we had 75 ladies come to that.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I have a couple of dumb questions.
Okay.
Sorry, Cody, I'm taking over the dumb question.
Go for it.
Thing. Well, I guess you know, with it being a nonprofit, is this all the money you raise? Is it all from donations, or do you charge? You know, like how does that work for someone that comes in? I know that sounds dumb, but also you jumping into this as a business, more or less, like how did you handle and continue to handle all that financial side of things to maintain this sort of structure with a business?
So we have to have a board. So when I was like, okay, we're going to go out on our own as a nonprofit. We're going to get our status. I started forming a board. So you have your president, you have your vice president, secretary, treasurer, and then your board members. So we came up with a budget. And it was a little tricky at first because we were, you know, under a different nonprofit, and we were trying to figure out how much should we really spend and need. What were our goals? So we just kind of made goals for fundraising and things like that. So our income comes from fundraising mostly. We have our Pink Ribbon event, which this year will be our 10th year. And then we have our other fundraisers. We have our Pink Light campaign, our Liquid Courage campaign. We have general donors that just will send money. A lot of times we'll get some of our ladies who we've helped will just send a thank you with a check, which is amazing. But there is no requirement for them. We do not ask them to pay anything. Let's see. That's how we kind of manage the money. So we meet monthly as a board, and we just, I'm learning about grants, which is interesting and tricky and hard. We have people who will come to us and say, hey, I want to raise money at my business by doing this. So we call that kind of a supporting event. So we raise money that way. You know, we have like our local soccer club here. She does a pink out night and we raises a couple of $1,000s there. So we have people who do that for us, especially during October, to help bring in funds.
Yeah, you've got
a learning curve for me. I've never been on a board before. I've never done any of that. So for sure, lots of learning and doubting myself, but also being confident, and lots of emotions for sure.
Yeah, I just can't. You know, it's just it can be overwhelming to hear these stories and be like, how did you even do it? And I guess like for the people out there that kind of have the same mentality or same thought in mind, what are some of the things that you would suggest or help people, that the mistakes you made or some sort of things that you could kind of help someone else that's doing it maybe in another state or county or something to push through some of the things that you had to go through?
There are people who are like nonprofit consultants who can help you get set up. We worked with somebody kind of from the get-go to do that. She helped us kind of point us in the right direction of how to do our bylaws, how to, make sure we were legal, and then fill out the application to get 501c3 status. I would say bring in people on your board that have been on other boards, because there are things like different ways that there's different ways that you have to run boards, that you vote, things like that. I as the executive director and founder, I am a paid position, as well as I have an assistant who's been working for 2 years that we brought on. So I am not a voting member of the board, but I am there, and that has been interesting to learn, to put that trust in people. They know my vision and they trust me, but they ultimately vote on everything. I can give them my opinion, but they have to vote. So that's been interesting to kind of let your baby go and be like,
yeah.
So I don't, but I can't say that there's been many times where we haven't aligned on the same, vision of what we want it to be. Get people who are willing to challenge your ideas, because that's important. And ask for a lot of help. It's really been helpful to have that common cause crew group, because we can sit there and talk as executive directors. We can say, oh man, do you guys struggle with this, or how are you dealing with this with your board, or things like that. So it's almost like we're finding our own support group within that, where we can, I think it just comes down to finding those people who can relate to you. I mean, I'm sure when you're talking with somebody in the real estate industry, you're not going to somebody who is a teacher and ask them questions about real estate. You're going to ask them about, you're going to go find another person in your same area. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Now,
what,
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, for anybody that would say want to reach out to have the initial conversation with you, what is the best way that you tell people to get connected with your group?
As like a person going through treatment or survivor?
Yeah.
If they're personally reaching out, they can reach out through our support email, which is just support@withcourage.org. They can also go on our website. They can reach us through Facebook or Instagram. That's probably the best way. If somebody is referring somebody, if you know somebody, we have an easy referral sheet on our website. That's probably that way, because I probably would say, hey, Cody, can you actually go fill this out? If you came to me and said, Caitlyn, I know somebody, I would say, can you fill this out? Just so it's streamlined for me, because it goes to my email, and then I can not forget.
Okay.
But our website's a great resource. Also on our Instagram and Facebook, we have a link tree that has all of those links as well.
And would that be the same for someone that wants to donate as well? Like, would they go to your website?
Yeah, website would be great. Or they could email me directly at Caitlyn@withcourage.org.
Nice. Yeah. And one final question for you. I know you're busy, but what was there ever a doubt? Like, was there ever times that you're like, man, screw this, or like, I can't do this, or were there a lot of them? Like, or were you always like just gonna do it? Like,
I always I was talking to my assistant, Chelsea. I say, man, this is the hardest part for me, that I have learned and had to be mindful of, is that I am talking about my story a lot. And so how do I take care of myself emotionally when I'm having to talk about myself and my story so much, especially as we ramp into October, because we'll have our events, we'll have all these things where I am the face of it. So that can get a little like mentally taxing. So I'm learning to just like take care of myself in that, because it can be tricky to relive that all the time. Even though it is important and people do find it relatable, it is, a lot to talk about yourself and your story in that many times in one couple weeks. So that's the only time where I'm like, oh, this is a lot. And I just have to remind myself, or, figure out what I am, able to put on my plate or not. So.
For sure. You've got some pretty big events coming up. Is there a resource? Do they go to your website for anything if they want to be a part of it, if they want to donate to it? Is that, again, go to the website?
Yeah, we have a couple of spots where you can click and either contact us, or you can become a partner with us. And there's a couple options, like donating an item. You can donate directly on our website if you want to donate just a flat monetary donation. You can be a sponsor of our events, things like that. So. Yeah, easy to find.
I'm looking at that now. Is the Pink Ribbon event still open?
We have not put tickets on sale.
Oh, okay.
If you want to be the first to know, click on that event page and you can sign up to be the first to know. We usually sell out in like a day or two. So
That's what I figured.
Wow.
I
if you
know
want to be the first to know, but tickets for first to know will go live October 5th. You are now knowing. You are first to know.
Okay.
And now,
All
and
right.
now
October 6th, if we have tickets available for the general public, but people are usually ready and they want to come back. So
yeah, I went years ago to the one at Evergreen, I think. Aviation
yeah,
Museum. That was a lot of
that
fun.
was right before COVID, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun, but
That was
yeah,
a big one.
it's been packed ever since. So I thought I'd have some in with you, but it's like
now
no.
you know you have a date.
It's been too long.
So just a little backstory real quick. Pink Ribbon event was started by some friends when myself and two other ladies were diagnosed, and they just did such a wonderful thing for us. And now it's crazy that it's 10 years, and it's crazy to see where it's come and how many people we've been able to support through that. Last year we raised over $200,000, and that is our goal again this year. So we just hope to impact more people. I had somebody, I think it was last year or the year before at the event, what's your goal? What's your goal for this event? And I said, what do you mean? I mean, like, what is your goal? And I said, well, my goal is to be able to give more support to the women or the families in Yamhill County. So, right now it's $2,000 in financial assistance. I love to give $4,000 to each person. And so not necessarily becoming bigger geographically, but just bigger impact in Yamhill County is my goal for now.
That's
anyway,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Caitlyn. If you have any interest in any of these events or donating, or you need support from Caitlyn and her crew, go to withcourage.org and check that out. It's an awesome nonprofit. You've done great work with it, and so I thank you so much for coming out and sharing that with us today. And maybe I'll get a VIP seat at the dinner.
You can talk to your brother. He might be able to get you.
There you go.
That's true. That's true. I do still have some hookups
There you go.
in Carlton. Well, thank you, Caitlyn. It was great talking to you. Thanks, Cody. And we'll chat with you later.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Caitlyn.